When you have a
Yeah, absolutely.
so when you have a situation that presents itself that is not in your favor, please remember that is your time to change the world. If somebody comes up and you're a XYZ and you're this, that, and the other, and I can't stand you. And the first thing you want to say is you're an XYZ and you're a this, that, and the other, and I can't stand you either. Other people looking are going to take that. They're going to put it in their mind, lock it away as, Jim's character, and they're going to either use it or they're not going to use it. And they might say, yeah, that's right. He's right. You're this, that, and the other. Or they say that to you. KKK neo-Nazi says that to you. You're like, man, I'd love to know why you feel that way. What can I do? You know what? There's a diner down here. Why don't we go talk? You tell me everything you think about me and why you hate me so much. I would love to pay for your lunch, to pay for your dinner. And yeah, there are going to be a lot of question marks, but somebody else is going to take that and they're going to lock it away. And guess what? What if that person, only one, if there are thousands of people, only one says, I'm going to do that the next time. I'm going to
Absolutely.
take that and lock that away.
I love it. I love it. Nola, do you have a similar belief or a different belief, or do you have a different approach? What are your thoughts?
Well, I would definitely like to say that I piggyback off of what he said. I do agree that, in order to beat evil, you got to treat it with kindness. However, there's a lot of people in America that would love the fire to be put out. But when you're comfortable, nobody want to bring the water. And that's just something that I see. This it's easy, like, Mustang said, to fight the fire with water. But once you get comfortable, the comfortable people is not going to come out. The extremists have nothing to lose. They have everything to
Right,
gain.
right, right,
It's-
right.
Yes. Yeah.
In order for the fire to be put out, the water have to be in an uncomfortable state in order to quench the fire. And the water being the masses, the people that want the liberation but don't want to come out of their comfortable homes or their AC or their climate control units and just say, you know what, I'm gonna stand in this heat, I'm gonna rally with the rest of the people and we're gonna put this fire out, because it's only by unity, a massive amount of unity, that anything can be quenched. And so, again, I just piggyback off of what he said and just close it out with that.
I love that.
I've
Wow.
got one more. I've got one more thing. I want to paint a picture for you guys. I want to paint everybody listening. I really want to paint a picture for you guys. I want you to imagine what you saw in Charlotte. So of course you got the guys on one side with like torches, or technically tiki torches, and you got, because we're in 2017 now, and then you got the other guys on the other side. Who are yelling, and I don't know what weapons or anything they were having, or if they didn't have any,
They didn't
but
have
they're
any.
yelling. But I want you to imagine that the KKK shows up. Now, let's say this again. The KKK, the white supremacists, the neo-Nazi, they're showing up to do whatever march they're going to do. And you've got a line of people, and all those people all have a tiny box with a bow and a little gift. Don't know what the gift is. We have no idea what's inside of it. But they're all holding it out in front of the KKK in the march zone. We will leave once you take this gift. We won't talk. We won't say anything. We won't argue. Once you take this gift, whatever it is, it's something that may be prized to me. It may be a pendant. It may be a drawing. It may be whatever. Once you take this gift, we'll leave. I want you to think about the impact that would make on the world.
I love
We
it.
have a chance to change it, but it's so easy to give in to ourselves. So I just want you to think about the
I
impact
love
that
it.
would
I
have.
love it. I think that's a great approach. I think that's one of the reasons why I think that not just having the visceral response, which we're all going to have a visceral response to something that is uncomfortable. I think recognizing there's a good friend of mine who says you've got to feel what you feel when you're feeling it. So you feel it, and then you let that feeling pass, and then you get into step two, which is how to deal with that issue. And I think what you're saying is that a lot of times meeting these individuals, because a lot of them, as Nola mentioned, have nothing to lose. They've probably lost. If you if you look at many of them, they've probably lost it all. They've lost because, jobs are not what they used to be. The educational preparation for many of these folks isn't such that they are able to make switches. Maybe they've had blue collar jobs and those plants have been downsized or moved to other countries. Maybe there are not as many coal plants. There was a big discussion in the Carolinas about, they were hoping coal was going to come back so that they would have jobs in mining and that type of thing. And that's all but gone. So there are many of these folks who are hoping for a better life, and many of them are seeing that financially they really don't have a big, bright future. And by galvanizing their arms with other people who are what they feel as disenfranchised, they are making moves to try to garner a change in the flow of American politics. What you have mentioned is recognizing, I think, that these people are human beings, that even though they're spouting a rhetoric that is divisive and hurtful, that we have to understand that we have to rise above what they're doing. We have to, as Nola said, link arms as a big group and be uncomfortable to bring the water. There are some cultures when you have, aberrant members of the culture, a thief, for example. There are some cultures, African cultures, where they'll sit the offender down in the middle of a community, and instead of stoning that person, they will begin to say nice things about that person. They will begin to affirm that person. They will sit in a circle because they believe that if someone has gotten to a point where they're willing to hurt the individuals who are around them in their community, then their need for value has not been met, and their lack of value is replaced by the affirmation of the community to reestablish that person. The thing that is taken is returned, and then the individual is not punished in a way that you would think, which is to cut off the arm or to put out an eye or to make that person realize that they've done something absolutely terrible. But they are affirmed that they are in a community that loves them. And how often are you willing to hurt someone that continues to care for you? Biting the hand that feeds you, biting the hand that gives you the opportunity. And what you talked about, Mustang, is that these folks are like children. They are having a temper tantrum, and they want to have some place to fight. They want to have an outlet for all the venom and vitriol that has been stored up for whatever reason, whatever misplaced reason they have. I'm not here to debate why they have the reasons that they have. But what ends up happening is we've got to let them understand that there is a community at large that does care about them as people, but does not stand with them in their belief. And there's a difference between, I think, a belief system and behavior. You a lot of times make your behavior about what you believe. But, there are many people who believe that doing right is right, but they don't do right. They do wrong. And I think we've got to start changing people's hearts. And I think the methodology of reaching out across the line to be compassionate to the bigot, be compassionate to the person who, ran you off the road and then shows up in your exam chair, be compassionate to the lady who clutches her purse when she sees you walking down the street until she realizes when the door opens that you're her care provider. Those are the things that are difficult to do that we have to make choices about every day. And I think that it is not just choosing to spout out what we believe, but living what we believe, living the compassion, choosing to look beyond the childish behavior and the childish fears that they have, and to recognize this is coming from a place of fear. And fear, it says perfect love, the Bible says perfect love casts out all fear. So if this community knew that the overwhelming majority of Americans don't want to see them harmed, but don't want to see them continuing to hate, I think there would be a potential for communication to happen. I also think that most Americans would like to see other Americans prosper. But I think the methodology that we're using in terms of hate speech is not allowing that to happen. And we've got to remember that we're part of a broader race. We're part of a human race. You know, our survival as a human race is dependent upon all members of our society being valued and their contributions being appreciated. We don't know when the next, person who comes into the world has the greatest cure for the next biggest illness. We don't know who will figure out the best way to deal with some of the issues that we have. But if we totally cast out everybody on the basis of race alone, and we only listen to certain people, then we probably, as a nation, pull ourselves and fragment ourselves so that we are susceptible to outside attack. And I think we need to be more mindful of the importance of unity, in particularly on the basis of race, to begin with. And then having a belief of service is the next step. Mustang, you made mention of giving a gift. If we, because we know that there are, neo-Nazis that are going to probably listen to this. We know that there are people from around the world who tune in every week. What would you say to them that would allow them to understand your position and the position at large?
I would give them something, and I would give them something that meant a lot to me. I don't know what it was. It might be a cell phone. It would be something that really mattered to me. I know people are like, what? Wait, you're what? But it would have to be something that mattered to me that I would not want to give up. It would be a sacrifice, whatever it was. And it would probably be accompanied by a little note, and the little note would let them know that they could use this to, they could use this two different ways. They could use it to continue doing what they're doing, or they could use it to help someone else that maybe is a friend or an ally that they're around with, to understand that they're cared for and that we love them, and we love them to death. I mean, literally, I'm not talking about the love in the dictionary. I'm talking about, your car just gets broken down. I'm headed to work. I'm going to stop. I'm going to help you and risk being late because I love you. And your destination is equally as important as my destination. Your problems are equally important as my problems. So, I think something
unified,
like that.
Yeah,
probably,
I like that approach. What, Enola, do you have a thought related to this?
I don't want to play the devil advocate, but
that sounds like you do.
Yes, love is a word that we take very lightly. As I'm listening to you, I do agree with what you're saying. You do, want to shower people with love and kindness, and to me, the greatest sacrifice is the one that is unknown, the one that I just walk up to you and be like, "Hey, Mustang, how you doing, man? I know you don't know me, but let me have your cell phone." At that spur of the moment, you can't delete nothing. That's the real sacrifice. When someone just catches you off guard, not something that you can say, you know what, let me plan to give you my cell phone. No, the real sacrifice comes where it's at the most inopportune time. However, with that sacrifice, I'll be willing to sacrifice anything if it doesn't have a bill attached to it that I couldn't afford to, take care of that bill for that individual. I think the sacrifice that Mustang was definitely talking about is something that is of a power that is, that is not within you, that you cannot see, you cannot control. And to me, to walk away from something, you have to have a woman on your side that's going to be by you, that can say, you know what, if you sacrifice this, something that belongs to us, I'm with you. Now, how you going to get us out of this situation? And so a sacrifice doesn't necessarily comes with you just giving up something that's your own possession, but also giving up something that's belonged to you and your family, something that you provided for. That's when the greatest sacrifice comes in place.
Well,
however,
go ahead.
When you're talking about love, I said that at the beginning, love is a word that we take for, very lightly, because how can you show someone love when you just seen them murder your kid, murder your wife? is it really love when you walk up to that person and genuinely hug